girls with their nails done now. Girls with their nails done. I like the girls with their nails done. Girls with their nails done.
All right. Good morning, guys. Welcome. Welcome. Buenos dias. 1 second. 1 second. Okay. All right. Looks good. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the live stream. Man, it's Thursday already. I feel sort of happy about that. Yeah, Tesla, man. Tesla. She's hot. She's sort of hot. Really, the only thing that's making me happy is I did buy a lot of Tesla shares. I don't have any options on it. I sort of, actually, you know what? I probably shouldn't show my login to that one real quick. I sort of been watching this Tesla breakout move, but I never really acted upon it because of that market. But it's doing it without the market, which is pretty wild. What do I got in here? Get up to $750 a year. We'll give you and your friends a $75 bonus to invest when they join M1 and fund an account. Anyone want that? Here we go. There you go. If you want a referral. Tesla. I got 206 shares at, well, that's interesting. 206 at 206. That's my average on Tesla. 206 at 206. That's pretty wild. So, yeah, it should be up nicely. Got 200 shares there. And then I think in my IRA, I got another. This one in the IRA, I have a great average. I got 120 at 182. So 120 shares at 182 in the IRA. So I got total about 325 shares at maybe an average of like 190 is what I have in Tesla. So it's good. It's a good amount. I'm happy to see it's one of my largest holdings in my portfolio. So that is good. But do I wish I had some options on this. This was a really aggressive last 2 days on Tesla. So congrats if you guys caught this one. Leading the yeah, it looks like that robo-taxi, the FSD update. I'm not sure. I think also about the rollout in Europe, the FSD rollout in Europe and China. self-driving tech in China, Europe. I think that could be some of it. But overall, it's just been a nice chart, right? The technicals have been sort of setting up for this. I think we talked about this one last week, but the technicals have been setting up for this. We had that 200 SMA hold. We had this downtrend that was getting tested. It did get rejected on Monday or on Tuesday of this week, right? And then just sort of popped right back in the face. Held over 219 yesterday, and that was really the key. After that hold over 219, which we'll talk more about in a few moments. So, yeah, we'll go over Tesla. We'll go over everything, the market. Guys, what a beautiful 555 yesterday. If you guys caught 555 yesterday on the SPY, congrats. That was a sick trade. That was... Cheers. That was a sick trade. That was perfect. It was just like we talked about in the live stream yesterday. Verbatim. We said we want that shitty zombie grind into 555. It did exactly that all morning. We hit 555. We hit 554.50. Started to take my short entries. Got the rejection that we were looking for. Selling pressure came in right off the retest rejection. And it ended up being about a 250% SPX put option trade. So that was exactly from our live stream yesterday. If you come to the live streams for $0, free. Just got to show up. That was there for the taking. So congrats if you caught that. If you did, press the like button. Subscribe to the channel. Make sure you come tune in every day, starting at 8 o'clock every single morning. Unless the only times I will not be here is if I'm on vacation with family or at a bachelor party. That, as you guys probably have noticed, is the only times that I am not here. It's usually a family trip or a bachelor party. One of the two. All right. That's a good question, Richie. What gave you confidence to enter before the supply zone? Talked about it in my video yesterday, or a wedding, of course. But we'll talk a little bit about it when we get to the SPY. Very clear reason as to why, and I'll talk through it. All right, so let's get started. Economic calendar. What do we got today? We do got some big stuff here. We do have some, I think, at least, or I'm going to a Rangers game. Some interesting ones today. Definitely, right? ADP non-farm employment change, 8:15. That's in about 10 minutes, 9 minutes. And then 8:30 unemployment claims, non-farm productivity, unit labor costs. We definitely have some economic data here in the pre-market to pay attention to. So 8:15, 8:30. Let's make sure we're aware of that. Okay. 15 minutes after open today, services PMI right here at 9:45, 10 o'clock. And then 11 o'clock, crude oil inventory. So we are sort of peppered with some economic data this morning. We don't really need to worry about these because they're going to happen before the market opens, and there's nothing we can do regardless. But we can pay attention to this. And then just let's make sure we know 45 minutes after open. 15 minutes after open, and then 30 minutes after open, we do have some of that services PMI. So just know that. Okay. Let's jump right into the futures. If you guys could, damn, 1,200 likes, 1,200 people, 300 likes. Come on now. If you guys could, press that like button, subscribe to the channel. I'd appreciate that. All right. So, once again, I think we must hold this 18,825 on the NASDAQ futures. If we do not hold this 18,825, then I believe you are coming down right to this 200 SMA here, guys. This looks sort of heavy, right? If we look at this 4-hour chart, we can see very clear rejections at that 100 SMA yesterday, 19.2, and we're still holding that low from Wednesday and Tuesday and Wednesday, which is 18,825, right? There's a very clear channel that is forming here, and that's a lower channel, right? It is a stair-stepping downside move right now. So if you continue to stay under this 19,200, if you continue to stay under that 100 SMA, you are not going to move higher on this NASDAQ. It's just how it is, right? We are not going to see this NASDAQ move higher if you continue to trade below these lows and you turn them into rejection points, right? That is right here at 19.2. It might be a little bit lower, around 19.140, but I'm keeping it at 19.2 myself. 19.2 right there, right here, 100 SMA, previous lows, very clear. If we continue to trade under this, right, this is your sort of stair-stepping lower move and your lower channel, right? So you got to get above that. You got to get above that. If you're below this, it's weak, it's rejections, it's pops and fades, right? If you continue to look for these rejections, I think you'll continue to find some trading opportunities, but I would continue to watch that 100 SMA on the NASDAQ futures. Now, the lows from Tuesday held again, 18,825, right? We had that pop, we had that fade pretty much all day, and we're right back at these lows. If these lows give up, if we do see a break under these lows today, I would fully expect this move down into the 200 SMA. This is really where I think that NASDAQ might want to come to. You guys can see that 18,500, that 200 SMA. If we see the market break below these lows, then I would expect for us to drive lower into that 18,500 and that 200 SMA. If I zoom out on the 4-hour chart, you guys can see that there really is not a lot of support down in here, right? Look at this. There's really nothing there. There's straight up, there's straight down, there's sort of this fake, up and down, there's straight up, right? There's really nothing in here. So if we break this low right here, 18,825 low, we break that yesterday low, that Tuesday low, I would expect us to drop pretty aggressively towards that 200 SMA around that 18,500. Okay? You will need to get above 19.2 for any chance of this market actually moving higher. There's no chance this market moves higher with strength if it's under 19.2. Right? That is a previous low. That's a previous high. You need to get above this. You need to hold above this. You need to try to build back above that rejection point. That's the only way you sort of build some juice here for another move higher. So you got to watch that 19.2. Very, very clear. Okay? I would definitely be looking for the shorts under this 18,825 today. QQQ. Let's go to the 4-hour chart. Let's go to this. And these levels are very clear on the QQQ today. So let's zoom in on this 4-hour chart. And you guys can see, I believe, the very clear level that we need to stay below for weakness or get back above for strength is right here at 487. You can see right here, 487, 487, 487, right on the 4-hour chart. You can see these major rejections at 487, right here, that turned into support here. And you are now living underneath it, right? So this is your new channel that you're living in right here. If you continue to live in this channel here, that is a structured lower move, right? That is structuring lower. So this is how that stair step to the downside starts, guys, right? We talk about those stair steps. We usually look at them like in hindsight, right? You can see these stair steps in hindsight. Well, you are starting to see how this builds in real time, right? So 468, right? 468, very nice. 468. That's what I would be watching, right? Because you can see that is this previous high, that's this previous low, and that's that 20 SMA. So 468, if I go to this on the hourly, you guys can see right here, it's this level right here, it's this 20 SMA, and really, as long as the Qs is under that, I don't see this being a very strong move. I got to go out a little bit more. This is like that sort of larger, the larger upside rejection point I'd be watching. If we get a little bit more juice to the upside, see this? 1, 2, this little low here, and that 20 SMA, that would be a really interesting failure level to be watching them for me. Right here, 20 SMA, right? That's a big spot. I'd definitely be watching that moving forward. Now, to the downside, right here, this 457 level, looks like it wants to continue to try to hold. 457 is that low from Tuesday, and it's these lows right here at 457. So 457 needs to break. If we break 457, we are going straight to that 450, no doubt. That is very clear here. Look at this 4-hour chart. That 450 is these previous highs, these previous lows, this pivot area here that caused that upside, and a very possible retest level. So if we break 457 here, I would fully anticipate the QQQ to test 450. That would be a major watch for me. If we get under 457, I'm watching 450. As long as we are below 468, I think weakness sticks into this market. You can see right here how clean this channel is. Right there, right? See that? You have highs, you have previous lows, and you have new highs. You have these lows that are holding right now. So if we break outside of this channel, we're going down to the next level. That's 450. And I would expect that to happen if you see a break and hold below 457 today. If you do hold 457 today and pop back to the upside, I would be watching 468. Okay? That would be your target. You can look to scalp the longs off these lows, right? This is what I tried to tell I wrote to the group today, right? You can scalp these lows for longs, but you need to understand that you are scalping longs in a downtrending market, okay? And so that's like shorting these highs in this uptrending market. It can be very difficult, and it could be very short-lived, right? So if you tried to short the highs in this uptrending market, maybe you got a few points here and there. If you try to scalp the lows, the longs off these demand lows, you might get something. But right now, doing that is a little bit against the trend and will be a little bit difficult in my opinion. All right, so we just got our 8:15 ADP non-farm employment change. Thanks for the data there, Hamish. Nothing yet. So we'll continue. S&P 500 futures, 4-hour chart, very clear levels on the ES here today. Let's go ahead and zoom out here on the 4-hour. Let's go right here. Let me do this for you. 4-hour chart. ES futures right here. Major lows. 55.05, 55.06. I'm actually just going to put that at 05. 55.05. You guys can see right here. Previous highs, previous lows, and very clear lows that have created here on Tuesday, Wednesday. So we are definitely watching that Tuesday, Wednesday low. If we break that, I would anticipate we move down into this level right here, which is our 54.40 level on the ES. That was that target we had. That's that 100 SMA. That's these previous highs, okay? That's these previous lows, and that's the 100 SMA right there. That is a very interesting spot. Right there, right there, right there, and right there. If we break under these lows, 55.05, I would anticipate that downside to come in pretty aggressive, right? Because this is pretty much straight up here, guys, okay? Straight up movement, straight down movement, very possible. We talk about this all the time. If we go straight up, you better be ready for straight down, okay? Once that market starts slipping, you better be ready for that straight down if we're going straight up. So 55.05, right? Very clear. If we get under 55.05, I think 54.40, right? And that 100 SMA, and then under that, your 5400. If you can hold the 55.05, right? If you can hold that 55.05, then you have to be cautious of the pops and rejections pretty much all day, right? What did we talk about yesterday? We talked about the pop and rejection. We talked about the pop and fade at 55.70, and man, that could not have been any better. It could not have been any better. It was exactly what happened. We said be careful of shorting the 55, the lows from the previous day. Look for the zombie grind, right, up towards that supply. Look for that previous low to turn into a rejection point. And, I mean, it was just about as pretty as it gets. So congratulations to anyone that paid attention to that and took advantage of that right off these previous lows. What a perfect pop and fade. So if the market continues to show the pop and fade, man, then this is not going higher, okay? We cannot pop and fade intraday and expect the market to go higher. We can't see this. This is not resemblant of upside markets. So we need to start seeing pops that maintain and close higher, okay? So if we want to see more upside on the market, then we need to see this market get back over 55.70 at the very least, right? At the very least. Need to be over 55.70, have to get back above this, and really need to be over 5,600 as well, but that's for another day. We have to see if we can even get over 70. That would include us getting over the 50 and 20 SMA as well, which looks to be still a very tough level on the ES. Look at how the ES is continuing to fail these SMAs, 50, 20, right? Just failing, 55.70. This looks very heavy in here. So if we break under this 55.05, 55.06 previous Tuesday, Wednesday low, then I am anticipating you see this drop towards this 54.40, right? I think that could be very aggressive too. And this is why I still hold SPY puts overnight. You guys are aware of that. I held those SPY puts overnight, and let me explain to you now why. So yesterday, if you want to trade, if you want to watch my live trade on SPX, made about 250% total after my last contract, made about 14,000. You can go check out my video yesterday. It's 100% live. All the live recording is there for you to watch. This was something we traded within the group yesterday, and it goes right back to our 555 game plan. So game plan was provided here. Live execution was in the community. You guys can see this was our 555 low. This was the previous here, right? Previous low, previous low. We had a drop below that. That's the break. Where's the retest? Yesterday was the retest. You see the rejections at it, and that's your entry, right? This is your short entry. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So we had that daily 50, daily 20. We had that pop into that 555. That's your retest move. And you can see those rejections that started to come in. And I'm still holding those SPY puts overnight because to me, why would I sell SPY puts if we are structuring lower, right? Why would I sell the SPY puts if this market is structuring lower, right? So I traded SPX short terms, right, for a scalp, made my money, right? So the SPX is locked up, right? That's realized, right? That's paying for the SPY that's unrealized, right? URL. But this profit, okay, this profit is offsetting any losses that I could take on the swing trade, right? So that's why I held the SPYs overnight. I held those overnight because the SPX locked up and is, offsetting any kind of losses. So that's how I played that yesterday. I was like, all right, I'll take some Friday SPYs, hold them overnight, but I'll also scalp SPX. And if I can get a nice SPX profit, then this SPY put is basically free. And if this does continue, we're just going to juice this thing. So it looks good right now. 555, nice rejection. And someone asked me earlier, why did you take the trade before it got to that 555 level? And so, guys, here's what it comes down to, right? Number one, the game plan is about as rock solid as it could possibly get. Okay, looking for rejections at this 555 is a trade. Guys, this trade I will never not take. There is not a single ounce of question in my mind if I'm going to take a rejection at 555. That is like telling your child that you've been adopted. That is like saying, I no longer love my children. That is like saying I am not going to watch Thursday Night Football tonight because my girlfriend said no. That is the most ridiculous thing to do. You cannot not take this trade, in my mind, right? That is a must trade. That is without a doubt, 1,000%. You have to at least put something of risk in this trade. That is the exact definition across the board of a break and retest. Okay, that is major multi-week lows breaking. And I said in the pre-market yesterday, if we get that upside back towards that level, that is the best possible short. And as soon as I started to see us grinding higher yesterday, I knew it was on, right? I knew it was on. I said, okay, it's time, right? Look at how the market did exactly what we talked about. that grind higher. It's the exact move you're hoping for, right? You're hoping for this exact thing to happen. Just that right off the open upside that's just fueled by weak buyers, right? Nothing of import. Like, you're coming right into like a brick wall, right? This is a brick wall that you're trading right back higher into. So you got to take this. You have to. So as soon as we got close to it, about 455, 450, 450, I was like, all right, I got 50 cents of risk here. And I am totally fine risking 50 cents here to start taking this entry point, right? If this does slide a little bit higher into 555, right, and it does reject higher, I am willing to sit through 50 cents of drawdown, right? I mean, if I can't sit through 50 cents of drawdown, then I can't be trading. So I said, all right, I'm going to start taking entries here. I am not going to miss this. There's no way I'm missing this. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to start taking entries here just in case this starts to weaken before 555. And so I'm going to start entering. And that's what I did. And I didn't really have to sit in any drawdown. I mean, we literally caught the top of this move. So really nice, guys. I'm not trying to talk too much about it, like trying to boast about it, but man, it's awesome. I hope you guys saw it. I hope you guys see how this can work real time, right? I hope you can see how technicals can actually be traded, because we verbatim said to look for this yesterday and it was perfect. So congratulations if you caught it. Continue to look for it. Let's move forward. I just hope it proves a point, right? That you can do this too. That's really more important than anything else. You can look for it. You can do it. It is possible. That is just perfect technicals right there. It is possible, and you can do it. So don't give up, right? Don't give up. You just have to, really what it comes down to is your intraday mindset and intraday emotional control to catch that move, right? Your control and emotional control and your patience and your, sort of just everything to just catch the move correctly, right? That's really all it takes. That's the difference, right? Because I know a lot of you probably knew that was a very possible trade, right? And you said, hey, that looks great, right? I'm going to look to trade that as well. Now, what happens to, I'd say, about 50% of traders is the market moves higher and they start thinking about, oh my God, right? I need to now long this market, right? Because if I don't long it, then I'm missing out on everything, right? This is the FOMO long, right? In the morning, you're looking for, hey, I'm going to look for that 555 supply rejection. Desi said it looked good, right? Let's go ahead and take a look for that today when the market starts trading. Market starts trading, we go straight up. Oh my God, how am I not long, right? I feel FOMO, and then I try to take some long, and then I totally forget about my original game plan, right? And then bam. And then you say, oh my God, that did exactly what we expected, and why am I looking for longs here right into my game plan short? So that's all mindset, right? And we talk about that in my video yesterday, and I have bad mindset at times, guys. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm by no means perfect. But those are those little things that's what messes you up, man. That it's not the technicals. It's not that you don't know what you're looking for. It's not that trading, what we're looking for in trading is like rocket science. That's not what it is. It's emotional control. It's game plan control. It's sticking to a game plan. It's sticking to your stop losses. It's doing all the things that you have. The problem with trading is you have no one to stop you, right? There is no boss. There is no one telling you, hey, stop that. Bad, right? It's you. It's you versus you, right? And that's the hardest part. So let's continue. IWM 212, very important, right? Watch that 212, watch that 50 and 20 SMA, and you got to be careful of longing into 216, right? 216, all right? Mr. Jones, Mike Jones, Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones, man. Good luck, Giants. I'm going to have a pretty painful year, I think, my friends. It's going to be really tough for the old Giants fans out there, and that's me, unfortunately. So, 41,100. That's about as clear as it gets there on the Dow. 41,100. That's very clear. All right, let's continue. Tesla. So, Tesla. Man, it's a very interesting 4-hour chart, I will say. This is a very good-looking 4-hour chart. Does the market allow this to happen, though, man? I don't know. This is so hard This to me is so hard to long Tesla when the ES and NASDAQ are looking like this. I mean, how are we longing Tesla? With the NASDAQ breaking down potentially today, maybe even closer to that 200 SMA, that is really tough for me. So I'm going to need, unless I see the market flip very aggressively to the upside, it looks to me like I'm just going to be holding my Tesla shares and probably not take a part of this move, because I just can't aggressively long something with the market going the opposite way. It is very difficult for me to trust things. I know myself, and I know that it would just be a totally sweaty trade, and I would not be able to really execute it to the best of my ability, and I'd probably just make more money holding my shares, to be honest. So that's probably what I'll do here, unless the market can show me upside. If the market does show me upside of some strong flips on the market and Tesla's, still there, then absolutely. But if not, let's ride the shares. As long as Tesla's over 219, it is in a very good situation. This is a very interesting stair-stepping move higher, right? You can see 1, 2, right? And maybe you're looking at 3 here. And this definitely looks to be like Tesla is starting to try to do something here. But we need to hold 219. You got to hold 219. That's a must. If you can hold 219, I think you can try this 236 again, right? 236, 236. I think that's very possible. If you can hold that 219, you guys can see right here, 219, 219. Let me show you this short term. 219 on Tesla, right? Held all day yesterday. Look at this right here on the 5-minute chart. You had those previous 219 rejections on Tuesday. Look at how Tesla held above that 219 yesterday and has squeezed higher after that move. Did we get the data, and is it bullish because Tesla's going straight up? Okay, whoa, right off that level. Holy shit. That's crazy. Right off that level. 18,825. Is that the exact level? Did we exactly touch that? 18,827.25. We're going up. We're going up. Market's squeezing. All right. Really not much. Little popper off this demand low, but nothing of importance. Nothing of importance. Literally nothing. Okay? This is not important of a move. So 18,825. We obviously know that's a demand low. We are not long. We are not shorting into this low. That is very known. Okay, so we're not going to open the market and start shorting into major demand lows. If we are, we're not paying attention to anything. We have to be careful of those shorts into this low. And I would say, guys, I'd really say, if I'm going to be quite honest with you, if you trade somewhere else besides here and here today, it might get really, really ugly for you. You really need to trade at the channels, because the only trade that actually worked for me yesterday was right here, guys. This was the only trade that worked for me. Okay, so I really will say this, would strongly recommend this, guys, is if you are not up here, okay, and you are not down here, and you are not looking for maybe that little long or maybe that little scalp short, and you start trading in this, it is going to be disgusting. Okay, anyone that was sort of late to the short entry yesterday, while it did move lower, had to sit through some of the most disgusting and volumeless action the entire afternoon in this zone. I mean, this is just terrible. So please, only trade if we are at a key level today, because you do not want to be a part of this, my friends. You don't. All right. So back to Tesla. 219 must hold. If you do see that hold on 219 and you see that market push higher off those lows today, Tesla might get that juice, right? This is all you really need on the NASDAQ. All you really need on the NASDAQ today is this low to hold, and possibly it just started to grind higher again, right? If you can just get this on the NASDAQ today, I bet you Tesla has some big-time fuel behind it. So look for that NASDAQ just to have a general hold and demand hold, all day, or at least part of the day. And Tesla probably has the juice as well. So keep an eye on that thing. And also, I'd look for pullback longs at 219. If you get a 219 pullback, I'd be looking for that as well. Nvidia, she's weak under 110, and it's no bueno for the semiconductors either. 110 is a very tough level here. It looks like for Nvidia. Let me go ahead and zoom out here. Let me get this more time. 1 second. You guys can see right here. 110, right, on Nvidia is this previous high. 110, 110, 110, 110, 110, right? This whole sort of zone we had marked out. And yesterday, that was exactly where it rejected, right? And that 100 SMA. So I am not a fan of longing Nvidia here if we are stuck under 110 and we are stuck under the 100 SMA. That is about as clear of a smackdown level as you can possibly get here. So, yeah, really not a fan of this one, guys. Unfortunately, I really love Nvidia, but I can't really recommend trying to scalp along this thing, sitting right under 110 and right under this 100 SMA. That does not look very pretty. So what would I continue to look for? I would continue to look for fades in here, right? Again, yesterday created a nice fade. It took a little while. It took pretty much all day. I tried a little 108 fade here, lost on it, and obviously it worked later on, so that's unfortunate. But I had the right idea. It looks like we needed to come up to around that 110. So today, I'm not going to look to fade 108. I'm just going to look to fade around that 110. I'll keep an eye on 108 to get an idea of what it's doing, but I think 110 is the proper level to get a really nice entry point. Nvidia really next support's 97, but guys, Nvidia, it's going to find these bounces at every point along this down move, right? There is no doubt in my mind that you're going to find just these random spots on this downside move, right? 103.30, maybe a little bit here at these lows, 101.50, maybe some at these lows, 102.50, right? This is how, you can't expect Nvidia not to find a little pocket of buying and pop back higher along the way. So if you're going to short Nvidia, you got to get a good entry, okay? You have to be an entry somewhere in here, right? And you can't chase the shorts. Chasing shorts on Nvidia, regardless of how weak it is, gets you stuck in that, right? You chase a short, you find a pocket of buying somewhere, it pops straight back up, you absolutely get smacked. You got to be short on the pops, and you got to trust in the fade, okay? The people that are trusting in the fade right now are the ones that are getting the good entry points, okay? If you trusted in the fade at 110, if you trusted in the fade at 555 on SPY, right, those are the good entry points. Chasing shorts yesterday did not work, okay, after the move was made. So just be careful. In downside markets, it's the same. Guys, remember this, okay? Please remember this. When the market's going up, what does everyone want? They want pullbacks to long the market, right? When the market's going straight up, everyone wants pullbacks to re-long the market, right? So if the market's going down, okay, we need bounces to short back into. Right? So we do not short at lows. Bounces to short back into. All right? So that's what you want to look for across the board if this market continues to do what it's doing. That's how you play this. Bounces in the 110. Let's see if we get fades at that level. AMD. Bounces, right? We got that bounce into that 144.50 yesterday. That was one of our AMD retest rejection plays. And it's playing out pretty well, man. It's playing out pretty well, right? Instead of shorting into a hole, you wait for the bounce and you wait for the retest fade. And that's exactly what AMD is doing. Really clean here on AMD, right? Hollywood, Florida's calling me. Nope. So 150, right? 144.50, very clear. Drop, pop, and fade, right? Nice. Drop, pop, and fade. Very nice, right? You can see how this is structuring. Bam, bam, very nice. So next entry point on the short right here, 144.50. If we can get that pop again, I'd look for that. Be careful of shorting into 136. If you can break under 136, then you can look for that downside move, right? All right. Not much for broad. Oh, I want to go over SMH. I'm just going to go over the SMH for you guys because really it all drives off this SMH. 230, right? 230 on the SMH, 230 on the semiconductor ETF, I think is really the only thing that, and not the only thing, but one of the main things you need to be paying attention to for strength on the tech sector and then strength on pretty much every semiconductor. If we're under 230, I do not like the semis to move higher, which in my opinion would make me not like the NASDAQ to move higher because the NASDAQ has pretty much been driven off the semiconductors. Yeah, Broadcom today definitely has some importance. I would agree with that. Thank you, Margin. So we'll definitely keep an eye on how Broadcom responds and how it affects the SMH here. But to me, I think you need this SMH over 230. And if it does not, that is concerning to me for more downside, probably down into this 200 SMA, right? This 200 SMA and 216, that looks to me like the next test. 216, it's nothing major. I have it because of this 200 SMA, but you can also see a little bit of in the past here. It's a little bit of a sloppy level. SMH is a little bit of a sloppy trade. But I have just sort of this 216 over here, and I was just sort of looking at, right, you can see right there, 216, 216, 216, a little bit of 216 there. Not much. I just have it there mostly because I want to know where that 200 SMA is. I would assume that 200 SMA has something to do here to pay attention to. So I want to make sure I'm not shorting SMH into 216 and that 200. That's just why I have that green zone there. So be aware of that 200 SMA below. That's very clear. That's probably a level that it finds some kind of bounce off of. And then be cautious longing into 230. Okay. Let's go to Apple. Apple's breaking potentially. Apple has to hold 220 in my opinion here. Let me zoom out. I think Apple's really got to hold this 220. You guys can see right here. 220, 215, big low. And then this 220 level. Let me drag this over. This 220 level was right here. 220, 220, and we're sitting right at it. Overnight, you guys can see, we had a rejection, yesterday, we had a rejection under 220, right? We failed it again, right? Rejection. Ultimately, we did get back above it, and Apple is trying to hold above 220. Now, if we failed at 220, I think you see more downside to 215. And then look at how clear, let me go to the hourly chart here. Look at how nice this rejection to the upside is. You can see right here. 224, pretty clear, failure point here on Apple. So, in my opinion, if you want to look for Apple upside in the short term, I think you got to be over 224. If you are not, this is still a very potential. Again, guys, draw these boxes out. It really helps you understand what's going on in this market. Okay? This is structure 1. That's the wrong tool. Box 1, box 2, right? And so you're not going to look to long, or you're not going to look for upside continuation on Apple if it is trading under that major low that was previously holding the stock higher, right? You can try to scalp it long off the lows, but you have to understand that you are not looking for anything more than 224. When you look long is when this does this, right? And then it turns this back into a new low, right? And then you can try to long these lows here for that push into the high. So this right now is a very clear structuring lower move. And if you can stay under 220, that would be sort of the third one, right? So I'd watch that. That would be right under this 220. I'd watch that. Matt V, appreciate that. Thanks for supporting the stream. ASTS. Oh, a little bit of downside this morning. AST says we continue to have no plans to raise capital and underwritten public equity offering through the latest. We believe we are sufficiently capitalized to execute our near-term operation incentives. Okay, interesting. Yesterday, ASTS, nice day for it off that daily 20, but it looks like it's sort of losing it today. A little bit of downside in the pre-market. But this is a stock that I have bought, just to be fully open with you guys. I don't know if I told you yesterday or not. I have bought some of these shares. I bought them in the 28s and 29s. So I was sort of buying it off this daily 20 SMA hold. Yesterday was a fantastic day for that. I was up close to I think it was like $7,000. But obviously today, not great. But I do own some shares around this 27, 28 area on ASTS. I'm sort of interested in this company. I actually genuinely, I'm a little bit interested in what this company is doing. I'm not sure. If it's a total smoke and mirrors. I don't have enough education about the company if it is. I hope it's not. So please do your own due diligence here, guys. Do not trade this based off what I'm saying. I'm just letting you know what I purchased. I'm just letting you know what I bought with my own money. No one else's money. It's my own money. I'm interested, right? I'm always interested in longing the pullbacks of these first explosive moves, right? I have found you definitely find these, common first explosive move, bunch of chasing, right? People get smacked. And then that move lower, when everyone starts forgetting about it, ends up being one of the best entry points and ends up being like that real setup. And so that's why I was like, you know what, man? I'm going to take some shares here. I like this retest to 25. I like the company. I'm going to try it out. So just to let you guys know, I am in shares of this company, ASTS. Interesting name. Big pop yesterday. Needs to hold over 32. And I would really want to see it hold over 32. If not, then it might get weak again. So I'm not sure. But ASTS, something I am watching. Want to point out Kava as well. Kava is another one that's pretty much the same setup, guys. It's the explosive move, the pullback, the forget about it, and then it's the, oh my God, how did I forget about it? That's sort of the move that I like to coin it something like that. It's the, wow, I can't believe it. It's the, oh, Kava's dead. Let me take it off my watch list. And then it's the maybe 1 or 2 week later, it's like the holy shit, Kava's back at the highs. And I can't believe it. So I'm not saying that's going to happen, but that happens a lot, right? And so this 109 level, let's keep an eye on this thing. I have an alert here at 115. I'm going to keep that alert. I had it this morning. I don't know where it went. I'm going to have an alert at 115. I'm going to have an alert at 120, right? Because I want to make sure I know if Kava starts grinding higher through these levels after this pullback, right? So keeping an eye on this 115, keeping an eye on this 120, that is definitely something to be watching for me. SMCI, yeah, SMCI, if it breaks under this 410, could be pretty ugly, guys. I want to short this, but I also don't want to short this because it's starting to get pretty close to some of these, man, it's giving it all back. I'd say 355 is like the ultimate short. That's like the end all be all level. I don't think I would short it any lower than 350, 355. Unless the company's a total fraud, of course. Then, yeah. But, man. I man, it's crazy, like, to think back because, I mean, you see these moves, and I was, at this time, I think it was around beginning of this year, in February and in March, I was like, there is 0% chance that I don't catch this back to the downside, right? I was telling myself, like, this is ridiculous. This is going to go back lower. I was so convinced of it. And then you just sort of end up not catching it. And it's just sort of like, damn, that's unfortunate. Because, yeah, I mean, let's be honest. That was always going to come back, okay? Stocks don't go up like this on the weekly chart and never come back. So, interesting. Very nice. In the short term, though, for you guys that are trading it intraday, I think you got to hold this 410. This is a big previous level. And then it's the 460. So I'd watch 410, 460. I'll show you where 410 comes from. It's right here. It's these 4-hour lows. So right here, this low right here is 410.19. 410.19 is that low. If you break that, there's some gaps. There's some pretty weak action below. So watch that 410. What's going on with Celsius? I mean, it's just probably an overhyped energy drink that went up way too high, right? I mean, that's probably what it is. Yeah, I mean, I'd assume that's what it is. Read into it. I mean, I mean, it's probably not very hard to. It's energy, sort of. Yeah, I mean, energy drink that went straight up. All right, let's move on. Netflix. Let's go to that 4-hour chart. You guys can see right here. This 20 SMA and 670 zone looks to be something to be paying attention to. So watch that 670 and that 20 SMA on Netflix. That's something I'd watch today. The other thing I want to talk about real quick is ANF, Abercrombie & Fitch. This could be another one, right, that you just say, hey, it might be time. Okay? Abercrombie & Fitch was a $14 stock at the end of pretty much in the beginning of 2023, and it has been straight up. This is another one that is interesting. I would say you need to break this weekly low right here at 108.53, and if you get that comes into pretty much straight up upside that I would be paying attention to. So yeah, this is another one that if you're one of those like, hey, you know, some traders like to watch these things. They're like, okay, I want to find the stocks that are just grossly, you know, overextended. If you are that type of trader, I would be watching Abercrombie & Fitch. I would just be careful maybe around this 200 SMA because that's where it bounced last time, right? 200 SMA, be careful around that 129. But that's another one that if the market starts weakening, we need to be paying attention to these, right? If the market starts to weaken, okay, if we start to get a real NASDAQ downside and a real overall market downside, ES downside, IWM downside, right? If this does start to happen, which I'm not saying it will, there are a lot of stocks out there that are going to get hit, right? Abercrombie & Fitch, without a doubt, being one of them. The other one being Carvana, right? And this is another one that I would assume gets smacked. Carvana, straight up. For what reason? I don't know. But Carvana has been straight up as well, right? And so this is another one. So yeah, just keep an eye on these things, right? Some of these names have gotten a little bit frothy, in my opinion. Some of these small cap names, just a tad bit frothy, for my liking. Microsoft, it's that we talked about that 200 SMA yesterday, and that was the exact rejection point, right? Absolutely perfection. We talked about that 200 SMA, that 410, right? Right there. 200 SMA, that was perfect, 410. So if Microsoft stays under that 200 SMA and it breaks this 405, you're going lower, but this is a very clear rejection on Microsoft. 410, 200 SMA, that's staying weak. Underneath that 405, you continue to see downside. Meta, don't really like anything on Meta. To be honest. This looks like a really shitty chart. I would be careful shorting into the 50 SMA. And I would be careful longing into the 20 SMA. To me, I'm not even going to look at it because I hate that chart. Really don't like that chart. Google is one of the weakest stocks in the market right now, which is crazy. And I would anticipate that this is coming down to this earnings low, right? Right here. This low from that pre-earnings, it's around this 154, 155. That's where I'm anticipating Google to come down to, right here. I would assume that Google drops to where this earnings move originated, and that is 154, 155. That looks to be where Google's coming down to. If it stays under this 200 SMA, this is a really ugly move on Google. So, yeah, this thing's sort of dead, which is sort of strange. So, if you tried to hold this 200 SMA yesterday, you're failing it. If you stay under this 200 SMA today, I'd assume more downside. Watch that 200 SMA. Amazon was sort of strong this morning, still is actually sort of strong as well. I sort of like this Amazon move here. This is interesting if markets do have strength. 20 and 200 SMA right here, right? Take a look at this. This is sort of interesting. 20 and 200 SMA sitting right here. See that? 200 SMA, 20 SMA, sort of a pop off that level. Has been a general hold level around that 173. You had this pop. You have this retest. This could be a very nice lower high, right? Look at this. That could be, I'm sorry, higher low, right? That could be a very nice little higher low there. Here's a low. Here's a higher low. That's off the 20 and 200 SMA. You're coming off a nice break and retest long. This is a very interesting watch to me. I'd be keeping an eye on this 173 on Amazon. Keep an eye on that 220 SMA. If it continues to hold there, I'd assume if the market has any type of strength, your next move is up to that 179. So I'd watch that. That's interesting to me. All right. It's time for me to go. It is time for me to go. I'm not looking at Roblox, guys. Maybe next time. How'd that ass on Roblox? All right. So NASDAQ 18,825. You can see right here, 18,825. That's your very major level. That's very clear, guys. ES, it's the same thing, 5505. It's the same levels as yesterday. Nothing has changed. Not a single thing has changed versus yesterday's levels. I actually do want to look at Coinbase, so I will look at that for you, O'Brien. Man, did I miss this. Man, did I miss this. I mean, it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. It is absolutely perfect. I mean, look at that. What is this? Who can tell me what this is? It's the break and retest. Again, and again, and again, and again. Nice supply. Broke that channel low, right? Had the channel low. Broke it, right? Breaking under the channel low. Retested the previous channel low. Turned it into a rejection point. Previous support. Into rejection. Break and retest. Short it. Bam. Straight back down. Right? Absolutely perfect. Really pretty. If you break under this 160, right? If you break under this 160, then you're doing it again, right? If you break under this 160, you're looking for this, you're looking for that, you're looking for shorts here, right? Break and retest, previous highs. Very nice. It's the same thing over and over again. So really clean there on Coinbase. That trade's gone. Do not short it into 160. If it goes under 160 and it holds below it, that might be where you look to short it, right? Look at this. Look at this action right here. So if you get under 160, then I'd look for it, right? All right, guys. That's all I got. If you enjoyed the live stream, please press the like button. Please help me continue to grow the channel. I'd appreciate that. We still are not at 100,000 subscribers. And that is sad. Everyone's got 100,000 subscribers and not me. And I'm the only... Actually, if we don't make it there before Trade Brigade, then I'm going to have to call Matt up personally. Is he at 100K yet? No one likes my videos. He is. He's at 100,000. Great. Great. All right. Well, press the like button. Subscribe to the channel. See you next time.